Today's video is on how to install a drawcord on an Oliver, and I also wanted to go over some cleaning, oiling, and some fine-tuning processes. So this is the cord we're going to put on, and this is the clip that goes on the end of the cord, and it attaches to the carriage. So let's start by taking that carriage off. Alright, so just to the left here is the platen knob. Below the platen knob is a button, so go ahead and push that in. That will allow you to move the carriage to the left till the bell dings. And then just above the keyboard you'll see two black keys. One is a tab key, the other one is the right key. While still pushing that left knob down on the carriage, push the right key down as well. So what that'll do is that'll release the carriage so you can pull it off. Okay. Alright, now sometimes you might have a situation where this knob and this little button does not depress, and if I can show it to you, let's get the light just right. There's a little rail here, and that rail sometimes gets rusted, so it won't move, and then what you'll need to do is do a different process to get the carriage off. You can still get the carriage off, so let's put this carriage back on. Okay, and we won't use this little knob off to the left here. We'll just use the tab and the right. So what we'll do is we'll push the tab key down, and it'll stop a few times because you have tab stops, and after the bell dings you're all the way to the right side of the carriage past the stops. So then push the tab down one more time, and with the right key. Now you might have to push the tab down a little harder than normal, and then you can get that carriage off by using the tab and the right. Then you want to free that little bar up a little bit, because they do get rusted if they've been sitting for a while. Before we put the drawcord on, I wanted to show you a few things about the carriage. So one of the reasons it's so easy to take this off is because you need to take it off to get to the tab stops. So let's flip it all the way over. Another thing that happens when an Oliver sits for a long time, these wheels get pretty gummy, and they'll get filled up on these, in this little depression, they'll get filled up with dust and dirt, and the best thing to do is clean that off with a wire brush. Just go in there, really get it down to the metal. You'll be surprised how much stuff gets stuck in here. There's also oil holes. Go ahead and oil there. There is a spot you can put a couple drops of oil on this long screw here. This part right here is the carriage return, so go ahead and oil that. That'll free up that carriage return if it's sticking. If the wheels are gummy, the backspace will jiggle back and forth, but it won't actually backspace, so that'll help with that. Alright, so there's that bit of it. We'll set the carriage off to the side. Let's put on the drawcord. Okay, let's talk about your spring drum a little bit. Hopefully your spring drum, when you turn it and let go, it springs back. That way you know the spring is good. If it doesn't, if it just rotates, have any spring tension, spring is snapped in here. It sets in a little shaft, and sometimes that spring breaks off of there. And in another video I'll show you how to reattach that spring. One more thing before we get started. Right underneath the spring drum is a small screw. Once you have everything set up, when you turn the screw counterclockwise, it adds tension to the drawcord. So if you don't have enough, instead of having to take the whole carriage off again and try to wrap it around the drum one more time, you can just leave everything together and add a little tension with that screw. If you find that it's too tight, you can turn it clockwise, and that reduces tension. Let's go ahead and put the draw cord on. Now there will be a large hole with a slot on the right side. You'll have a knot on the end of your cord here. And let's put that in the hole and slide the cord to the side and lock that in. Let's go 3 times around with that cord around the drum. And we're going to put it, the 9s have this neat little spring catcher, or the cord catcher. So let's put that cord through the spring catcher. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to put the hook on the little catch here, on the little rest. So now we have the cord going 3 times around the spring drum, through the little pigtail, the little catch, and onto the hook rest. So now that's all done. Going back to this little adjuster, on the 5s it's a little thumb screw, and on the 2s and 3s it's a little wing nut underneath the machine. So we're ready to put all this back on and adjust the tension if we need to. So the other thing is, before you put the carriage on, make sure your rails are clean. That'll make it work a lot smoother. So let's go ahead and put that on. Just line everything up, take your time. There's little hooks on the bottom of the carriage. Go ahead and line that up. And your hook, once you put it on, you're going to line that hook up with this little catch right here. So sight down the machine. So right under here is the catch. You get it on just right, and it catches, and there you go. That's what it'll look like when it's all done. If you zoom in, I think you can see that little guy right there. Okay, so that's one of the reasons this hook works a whole lot better than looping a piece of string around this hook right here, because if you loop it around the hook, then you can't remove the carriage when you need to. So, alright, let's do some adjustments, see what it's looking like. I like to use the tab stops. If you push the tab key and the carriage just really goes, it launches across, then you know it's a little too tight. But if it slows down in between the second and third tab stop, like barely moves, you need to add a little more tension. That's pretty good. Yep, that's about right. Okay, well, that's how to install a draw cord and clip on an Oliver. Thanks for watching.